We also have here the theoretical perspective of the church. So the major assumptions for functionalism: religion serves several functions of society. So this includes giving meaning and purpose to life, reinforcing social unity and stability, serving as an agent of social control of behavior, promoting physical and psychological well-being, and motivating people to work for positive social change. So, certain things in life are difficult to understand, but today's highly scientific age, much of life and death remains a mystery. And religious faith and belief help many people make sense of the things science cannot tell us. Religion is an agent of social control and thus strengthening social order, and it teaches people moral behavior and helps to learn how to be good members of society. Also, the faith and practice can enhance psychological well-being by being a source of comfort to people in times of distress. We also have here the theoretical perspective of the conflict theory. Here is the major assumption. So religion reinforces and promotes social inequality and social conflict. It helps convince the poor to accept their lot in life, and it leads to hostility and violence motivated by religious differences. So only men can find job and work for the family, while women left at home to care and raise the child. Religion also promotes gender inequality by presenting negative stereotypes about women and by reinforcing traditional views about their subordination to men, as by the studies of Klassen 2009. As a declaration a decade ago by the Southern Baptist Convention that a wife should rather submit herself graciously to her husband's leadership reflected traditional religious belief. It is by Wolf in 1998. So religion leads to poor to accept their faith and helps maintain the existing system of social inequality. And then the symbolic interactionism of the church. Um, this perspective focuses on the ways in which individuals interpret their religious experiences. So it emphasizes that beliefs and practices are not scared unless people regard them as such. Once they are regarded as sacred, they take on special significance and give meaning to people's lives. So our religion plays in our daily lives and the ways in which we interpret religious experiences. For example, it emphasizes that beliefs and practices are not scared unless people regard them as such. And once we regard them as sacred, they take on special significance and give meaning to our lives. And then the theoretical perspective of the government of functionalism. The major assumption: the government has four main purposes: planning and directing society, meeting social needs, maintaining law and order, and managing international relations. Recall also that according to functionalism, all aspects of society serve a purpose. Government and politics is a mechanism to enforce norms and regulate conflict. They seek consensus and order in society. This function creates social problems that lead to social change. The government conflict theory major assumptions. Modern day conflicts are still driven by the desire to gain or protect power and wealth, whether in the form of land and resources or in the form of liberty and autonomy, both from the government and from the general population competing for their own desired ends, makes creation of a peaceful resolution more challenging and violent conflict more complicated. So it focuses on the social inequalities, the power differences within a group, the society through this lens. So the philosopher and social scientist Karl Marx was a seminal force in developing the conflict theory perspective. He viewed social structure rather than individual personality characteristics as the cause of many social problems, such as poverty and crime. And he also believed that conflict between groups struggling to either attain wealth and power or keep the wealth and power they had was be inevitably in the society. And one example of this is the situation of Ukraine. It compounded by military aggression from neighboring Russia, which possibly annexed the Crimean Peninsula. So this is an example of conflict driven by a desire to gain wealth and power in the form of land and resources. The theoretical perspective of the symbolic interactionism of the government. So here is the major assumptions. It pertains to government and focuses its attention on figures, emblems, or individuals that represent power and authority. Relevance of sociology to counseling. So, sociologists study humans in social lives, activities, interactions, and processes to examine how social influences affects different people's lives. And in order to understand people of particular principles and of professions, both sociology and counseling, it is necessary to understand the history as well as the context in which they live or we live. So that would be all. Thank you for listening.